to just simply afford children in today's world with the way things are.
Right? It is not fair.
No.
How different is your policy versus Harris when it comes to securing our borders and only accepting people to U.S. without causing any issue to our country?
Donald Trump has a special talent of always finding a way to screw himself when he is speaking. Whenever he opens his mouth, it is bound to backfire. It's the reason Donald Trump won't debate Vice President Harris again. It's the reason he wouldn't sit down with 60 Minutes, and it's the reason he can only do an interview or a town hall when a MAGA Fox host is holding his hand and only allowing softball questions to be asked of him. And that is exactly what happened at Donald Trump's Women's Issue town hall today. A joke for Donald Trump to be even speaking about women's issues, but I guess he was. But somehow, even with the easiest questions being asked of him by his MAGA supporters, moderated by Fox Harris, faller Donald Trump still found a way to humiliate himself and really shock the crowd with just how much he is out of it. Even Harris fallers seemed confused and concerned for Donald Trump as he completely humiliated himself, and we are going to get into all of that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video and hit that subscribe button if you want to join the community that we're building on this channel. It really goes a long way, and it really means a lot to me. Now let's get into this first phrase clip of Donald Trump.
They're using your words to say that you are not for crime and keeping particularly women safe in ads. I want to take a look at what you said and just tell me, let's watch it.
If we have to.
Yeah.
We have two enemies. We have the outside enemy, and then we have the enemy from within. And the enemy from within, in my opinion, is more dangerous than China, Russia, and all these countries, because if you have a smart president, he can handle them pretty easily. But the thing that's tougher to handle are these lunatics that we have inside, like Adam Schiff. I call him the enemy from within.
Mr. President, Kamala Harris has said you sounded unhinged and unchecked power is in our future. What do you say about that?
I thought it was a nice presentation. I wasn't unhinged. You know what they are? They're a party of sound bites. Somebody asked me, can they be brought together? You know, I never thought, really, I wasn't thinking like they could, because they're very, very different. And it is the enemy from within, and they're very dangerous. They're Marxists and communists and fascists.
It's always funny to me that manga does this thing. Donald Trump will say a comment like he did right there, that the enemy within is who he has to go after, the radical left, and Fox will jump to his defense, as Harris Faulkner did, saying no. Of course, that's not what he means. He doesn't want to actually sick the military on Adam Schiff. And then Donald Trump will say, oh no, that's exactly what I mean, and we should trust him. As I always say, whenever Donald Trump says something politically damaging, that's when we need to trust him. When he says he's going to attack the enemy within, when he says that he is the most singularly responsible person in the world for overturning Roe v. Wade, that's when we need to trust Donald Trump, because he's telling the truth then. When he says he wants to be a dictator, which he clearly does, and it wasn't just the truth that Donald Trump said that was damaging to him, it was his inability to really say anything that made sense, that was incredibly damaging to him during this Women's Issue town hall, where he mostly wanted to ramble about energy and immigration, which you'll see right here.
What happens to the economy such that people can afford bacon that's gone up 28% in costs? Like, what do we do?
So I feel so badly about what's happened, because none of this would have happened. Just to start, there wouldn't have been a war in Ukraine and Russia. There wouldn't have been an October 7th in Israel. There wouldn't have been this horrible, most embarrassing day in the history of our country with Afghanistan, where we lost 13 soldiers, but they never talk about the soldiers that are so badly wounded, I mean, with legs and arms and face obliteration, all these things, and there wouldn't have been any inflation. And it's so sad to say we have to get prices down, because the damage is done. You know, when they
So this is a big talking point that Trump has tried to lean on in this campaign, saying that he's going to bring down costs by getting energy cheaper, saying he's going to cut it in half, cut the cost by 50%. He hasn't explained how or the direct impact to lowering costs that'll be. But he also hasn't explained how he wasn't energy independent during his administration, and how President Biden and Vice President Harris have made us energy independent even as we transition to cleaner and cheaper green energy. Donald Trump hasn't talked about that. He's mostly just rambled about obscure topics kind of connected to energy like he did right here.
We're going to get the prices down. We can't just leave them up there because it's going to take too long for people to catch up. That's why I did the social security.
We have to like reset.
No,
I don't know how you reset to prices that are 4
You can
times
get the
what you
prices
had.
down.
So let me ask you,
by the way, energy brings
it,
everything down.
How does it trickle down? Does it work that the energy is also cheaper for the companies and so that the distribution, how does the pricing actually happen? Because the interest rates have come down and inflation rate has come down. But it's like we are going uphill constantly with these prices.
But interest hasn't come down very much, and you can't get the money. Look, it really happens if you make donuts. You have the stoves, you have the dish. Everything is evolved around energy.
Like I said earlier, Harris Volner is literally holding Donald Trump's hand, trying to guide him in the right direction, saying, how are you going to do this? This doesn't make any sense. You're clearly a deranged person, but just say something substantive, please. And then he starts talking about donuts. Oh, it's going to help with the donuts. That's how it's going to cut cost. Donuts are going to be cheaper. It doesn't make sense what he's saying because he doesn't have a substantive plan. He destroyed our economy the last time he only benefited from President Obama's coattails, and now he doesn't know what he's talking about. Vice President Harris and President Biden oversaw an economic boom, Donald Trump, an economic disaster. And that makes the choice pretty clear. And it's not just the economy that Donald Trump failed to talk about with any cogence or coherence. It was also immigration, which he had to fearmonger on what we can see in this clip right here.
How different is your policy versus Harris when it comes to securing our borders and only accepting people to U.S. without causing any issue to our country?
Yeah, on the borders.
Well, and people coming legally.
Yeah, we want to have as many people come in as possible, but they have to come in legally. We don't want murderers. We don't want drug dealers. We don't want human traffickers. But they're going to come in through testing. They're going to come in through, like, do they love our country? Can they love our country? We had Aurora, Colorado, where Venezuelan street gangs have taken over a big chunk of the city. They've taken over apartment buildings. They're in the real estate business, just like I am.
Oh, my goodness.
No, but think of it. They've taken over buildings, and everyone's petrified. The governor...
Not only are the answers getting scarier for Donald Trump when he is asked about immigration, but might I just point out that the media has spent the last weeks and months nonstop complaining about how VP Harris isn't doing enough interviews, and then she does more interviews, and then they're not tough enough. John, even though she's sitting down with Brett Baier on Fox, and Donald Trump wouldn't dare ever go on a network that, but push back against him. But what type of softball questions are these? These aren't even real questions. It's just Donald Trump rambling nonsensically. And you can see the people asking the questions. And you can see Harris Volner pretty concerned and pretty confused. And you can really see that in this clip right here.
To just simply afford children in today's world with the way things are.
Right? It is not fair.
No.
You never heard of Ivanka, right? Ivanka. My daughter drove me crazy on this. We had the simplest, most beautiful I gave you the largest tax cuts in the history of our country, okay? Larger than the Reagan cuts, larger. But my daughter, Ivanka, She said, Dad, we have to do tax credits for women, you know, for the child tax credits. She was driving me crazy.
So when asked about affordability, an issue on everyone's mind, Donald Trump brings up the child tax credit that Republicans killed under the Biden-Harris administration. A child tax credit, mind you, that cut child poverty in half, and Republicans killed it. The instruction of Donald Trump, just like they killed the bipartisan border deal. That's your plan to do something you already attacked. He's just confused. He doesn't know what he's talking about, and that's incredibly clear right here.
And I said, we're not going to tax Social Security benefits on our seniors, and we're not going to do that. And we can pay for that. And that will a little bit more than even make up to what you I mean, you lost a fortune. You went up. Again, they say 21%. I think it's 50%. And all of that money, you're in a fixed income. People that were buying breakfast, they could no longer buy breakfast. Yeah.
I've talked about the failed messaging of the Trump campaign, and it's getting even clearer as he just talks about taxes nonstop. He's just going to cut every tax by the end of this election. Donald Trump's agenda is going to be no taxes at all. And you can see Harris Faulkner pushed back on the question of no tax on Social Security. How will we pay for that? And Donald Trump just blows past it because, one, he doesn't care, and two, he doesn't actually want to end taxation on Social Security. He just wants to say it because he'll do anything to get votes. His campaign is just one of slogans and absolute no substance at this point. And that really shouldn't shock us. But what should shock us is things like this that Donald Trump is saying.
We have to reinvigorate our police. We have great police. They're not allowed to do their job. If they do their job with gusto, which is what we want them to be fair. And you know, the sad thing is you'll always have a bad apple. And, you know, hundreds and hundreds of arrests, one bad arrest, and it's on the front page of every newspaper. And these people are incredible. They want to do their job, just like the Border Patrol. They want to do their job. We're going to let them do their job, and I'm going to give them immunity.
Let's remember, we opened this video watching a clip of Donald Trump talking about how he wanted to sick the National Guard, he wanted to sick the military, and he wanted to sick police on the radical left enemy from within. And now he's talking about immunity for those same individuals, for police officers that should terrify us. The plan is coalescing in his head. He's always talking about violence. Now it's the only thing he cares about, his grievance, his anger. We got to go after them. They're destroying our country. Talk about the angry and politically violent rhetoric. This is what we need to push back against. This is what we need to continue to call out. And we are going to on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around at the end, you enjoy our channel, drop a blue art in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.